Joining me now is Georgia Congressman Austin Scott, a member of the House Intelligence, Armed Services, Rules, and Agricultural Committees. Congressman, it's good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Maria.
So your reaction first on this China story and whether or not we keep missing the boat in terms of stopping this massive surveillance that the CCP has in place in America.
Yeah, China is no longer, an economic competitor. They're an adversary. And so, again, we can't simply pretend that they're not doing this and that they're not going to take advantage of the information that they have on the United States of America. They are our adversary. It's a choice that they've made, and we have to counter them, Maria. And so we're going to spend some money to take them out of our telecom networks, but I expect that they have been listening to anything and everything that elected officials and people who run companies have been saying and doing and texting over the last several years. And so it's not something that we can ignore. Obviously, we didn't get the drone language in the NDAA, but I would just remind you of this. In just over 40 days, we're going to control the agencies, and some of the things that we did not get in legislation, we're going to be able to do through the executive branch, Maria, and I expect Donald Trump and his team will do a pretty good job of protecting us from the Chinese.
So do you think the executive branch can do an executive order about not buying drones from DJI? That's a Chinese drone maker.
I think that we can make it very difficult for the Chinese to do business inside the United States of America.
Okay. And in terms of that $3 billion that's being allocated for telecom companies to get the Huawei equipment out, I mean, that seems like an awfully low number, sir.
I agree. And, the telecom companies have some responsibility in this as well. They have acknowledged and they have worked with our agencies pretty closely. And I think that, you'll see them working closer with, CISA and the FBI to find out exactly what the Chinese have been doing and how we make sure that this doesn't happen again. The Chinese are very aggressive. Again, they are not our economic competitor anymore. They are our adversary, and it's a very serious issue. Knowledge is power, and they're going to take all of the knowledge that they've gained and they're going to use it against us.
Absolutely, and they have been doing it already, undermining America at every turn. Meanwhile, Senator Graham
100%.
told me that he wants a border security bill first. He's pushing to get that security bill through the budget reconciliation process. Graham told me he wants to address border security first next year. Graham then posted this on X. While I support spending restrictions on and tax cuts, my top priority and the first order of business in the Senate Budget Committee is to secure a broken border. The bill will be transformational, it will be paid for, and it will go first. Congressman, let's talk about that because he says the bill is going to be paid for. Senator John Thune has plans to spend $60 to $80 billion on border-related items like the border wall and deportations. I'm told, Stephen Miller told me, that it's actually going to cost $100 billion. So again, are we falling short on the numbers here?
Maria, whatever the number is, it's going to be cheaper than allowing these people to continue to infiltrate our country with drugs.
Oh, I know that.
With weapons. I mean, we have so if you spend $100 billion and it saves you $500 billion a year, or whatever that number ends up being, I mean, it's money that needs to be spent. It's actually a good investment. I hate to say it that way when it's government spending.
I understand that, but do your colleagues on the left understand that? Because you're going to have a fight over it, aren't you? I mean, I understand that. I agree with you. This is national security, and that should be top priority. But I don't know that your Democrat colleagues agree with you.
I don't think they agree with us on border security at all. If you look at what they've run over the last several years, it's been open borders and making everybody who's in the country illegally a U.S. citizen. So we have no idea who a lot of these people are. I expect that Donald Trump's going to be very aggressive in moving to deport those, especially those who have a felony. We're going to have detention orders on hopefully all of the people so that if they're in this country illegally and they do get arrested, that they won't be released the way they've been under the Biden administration. And again, going back to the cost of the security, whether it's $60 billion or $100 billion, it's going to cost us that's going to cost us a lot less money than allowing those people to continue to come into this country illegally, where we're paying for health care and education, and all of the other basic living expenses of the people.
Well, I mean, where are your priorities from an intelligence standpoint? I've got to get your reaction to something Victoria Coates just said. We just spoke with her. Former national security advisor under the first Trump administration. She says the intelligence community missed four major things. Number one, the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan. Number two, they thought Ukraine would fold. Remember, they said, oh, we'll send you a jet, Zelensky, and then we'll take you out of there. No, he didn't want a jet. He needed money and weapons to fight the enemy. Number three, October October 7th. They didn't even see October 7th coming in Israel. And number 4, the Syria takedown. How is the intelligence community missing everything? You're on the intelligence community. Are things going to change next month?
Well, I certainly hope so. And John Ratcliffe coming in is an exceptional choice for director of CIA. I would tell you that we have missed some things there. The one we did not miss, though, Maria, we did not miss Afghanistan. Our military leaders, Biden missed it, but our military leaders and our intelligence community, our military leaders told Joe Biden what they expected to happen if he did what he planned on doing. And they were 100% correct on that. So the intelligence community did not miss it on Afghanistan.
Okay.
Now, certainly on Syria, and October the 7th, and a couple of the other things we've missed, certainly have raised a lot of red flags for us. But on Afghanistan, that was a decision where Joe Biden ignored the advice of the intelligence community and his military leaders, and the world has paid a price for that.
They sure have. Well, let me be clear here, because I meant the Democrats in the intelligence community, to be honest with you, because I know that national security is the Republicans' #1 priority. So thanks for clearing that up and the clarification. Hurricane Helene caused devastating destruction to Georgia farms, totaling more than $6.4 billion in losses to the state's agriculture industry alone. I want to talk about this because you've got this new op-ed titled "Southeastern Farmers Need Disaster Relief Now." Congressman, tell us more about your state and what has happened.
Sure. So, Maria, agriculture is the #1 industry in Georgia, as it is in a lot of the states. We had a $6.5 billion loss to our agricultural economy. And the reason it's so important that we get the relief now, Maria, is because our farmers lost this last year's crop. If they're not able to pay out at least some of the loans this year and plant next year, they'll lose next year's crop as well. And so, this idea that, we can do it in January or February or March, that's simply not true. Our growers will miss the planting season if we don't get that disaster relief right now. And from the standpoint of our economy, our school systems in rural America, our police forces and sheriff's departments in rural America, all of the basic necessities that we need in rural America are funded by agriculture and the jobs that agriculture provides. So we've got to get a disaster package passed now. We need to get the money to the states and through a block grant, let the states handle the administration of those funds. And then let's get our farmers back up and running, Maria. Without those farmers, there are no jobs in rural America.
Absolutely. And of course, it impacts the nation in terms of food as well, Congressman. So you're making all really important points, and we so appreciate it. Thanks very much.
We do not want to be dependent on foreign sources of food any more than we want to be dependent on foreign sources of oil.
Bingo. You're so right. Congressman, thank you. We'll be watching your work. Austin Scott this morning. Thank you, sir.